Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Superpower User. My name is Stanley, and in this video, I want to talk about the differences between the Edelkrone HeadPLUS unit versus the HeadPLUS Pro unit I've got here, and do a deep dive and compare and contrast the two, and talk about why you may want to choose one over the other, my experiences with both of these. So let's get into it. All right, now a little background about these two units I've got here. So I actually purchased both of these units with my own money, and I actually bought the HeadPLUS unit here almost about a year back, and I've been using it as my daily driver for my EOS R. This EOS R usually sits on top of the cradle, and then that sits on top of the slider, on top of the tripod. So it's pretty much one unit, and I move the whole unit around, and it's been reliable, it's been easy to use, and all the pans and moves have been very smooth. So if anything you take away from this video, the HeadPLUS unit is a very nice unit, and I totally recommend. But right off the bat, let's talk about major differences between the HeadPLUS versus the HeadPLUS Pro unit I've got here. So right off the bat, the Pro unit you can see is much bigger of a unit than the regular unit. So this is about 7 pounds, while the HeadPLUS unit is about 5 pounds. The Plus unit, you can pretty much put it in a backpack or one of those camera bags and break it down, while this you probably really wouldn't want to travel around with. Or if you do decide to travel, it's going to be pretty heavy to lug around. The payload on the HeadPLUS unit is about 10 pounds, while the rated payload on the Pro is 20 pounds. So everything about the Pro unit is just a little bit bigger. The cradle width is bigger, the height adjustment is more, and the height of the the main L unit is taller, longer, and again, bigger. So why did I pick up the HeadPLUS Pro unit? So up until now, I've been using the EOS R with a 16-35 f4L lens. And like I said, it's been sitting on top of this bracket the whole time. And because it's so small, balancing is not an issue. In fact, balancing of any DSLR is probably fine with this unit because the EOS R is fine. Even the larger 1DX Mark II or the new one Mark III fits on this just fine. And even with a very long lens, you could shift the bracket around and get this thing all balanced. However, I recently picked up a C200 camera, and this cinema camera, even though the body fits on this cradle just fine, the center of gravity and the weight distribution is just a little bit too much for the HeadPLUS unit here. And what I mean by that is the C200 camera is about a 3 or 4 pound camera, and you factor in about 1.5 pounds for the lens, you're up at like 5 or 6 pounds all in. So that's well below the 10-pound limit for this device, but because the attachments are all on the handle in the default configuration, the center of gravity is actually very high. So with such a high center of gravity, we need to drop this camera lower so that we can balance the center of gravity along this axis here. However, when I have my C200, which I'm actually using the film right now, when I try to get that thing balanced, I have to drop this bracket or this section as low as I can to try to get it lower. However, it's just not enough. The center of gravity is just still too high. So what happens is whenever I pan or make a move, it goes from, I can get it balanced when it's sitting there just right, but then when it goes up or down, it'll either fall forward or flop backwards. So it just doesn't work. So that's where the HeadPLUS Pro comes in. So the HeadPLUS Pro, one of the major differences is the extra height that you get here. you can see here, this is the exact adjustment I need on the HeadPLUS Pro for that C200. And this is all balanced, all configured for the balance with the lens and everything. So I'm actually still very, very high on the on this bar right here, but it's just enough to get it balanced. Now, the cradle is also wider than the regular unit, and you can see here this L bracket is taller. Functionally, they function the same. We've got the motor down here and the motor up here, exactly the same. However, another major difference between this and these two units is the motor spring, or the tension from the factory, is much stiffer. So this, you can see here, this spins much easily. It's very easy to spin this thing around. This, on the other hand, takes a lot more effort, and a lot with this as well. So the reason why they adjust it this way is so that if you have a big heavy camera, you can position it right and it'll actually stay in that position that you leave it in. If it was too loose, then it'll just, flop right back. So that's not what you want. Now, of course, you can adjust the tension on these units, just like the regular smaller HeadPLUS. You can tighten the tension. You can also loosen the tension here, but it's a nice change, nice default setting that they've already got here. So I'm not going to make any changes here. Next, let's talk about bracket difference. So you can see here, this is the bracket on the Pro unit. What I've got here, another one of the main reasons why I wanted to go from the regular unit to this one is the screw I've got here. So the HeadPLUS Pro comes with a 1/4 inch screw attachment, which I've got here. This is a separate attachment that came in the box, along with a 3/8 inch screw attachment. Now the C200 takes both 3/8 inch as well as the 1/4 inch. All you need to do is to pop this thing out, and then you can slide out this adjustment, or the screw, and slide this in if you need to change. The regular one, however, does not have this capability to make this change. This is only the 1/4 inch, and you can take it out by just unscrewing here, and there's actually a little wider place here on the bracket where you can take this out, but you cannot put the 3/8 inch in because there's not enough space to get that thing in there. It's just not designed for it. So if you absolutely need the 3/8 inch, this is your only option, and the HeadPLUS Pro is pretty much the only way to go. I suspect that you can swap the brackets just because Edelkrone made both of these, and there's a standard piece and whatnot. It will fit. Yeah, it will fit. However, because there's an extra length here, it just won't clear the L bracket here. So actually, what I can do is I can slip it on like that, right? See, it'll fit, but it won't clear down here. Now let's talk about some of the similarities. So the general design of the HeadPLUS and HeadPLUS Pro are virtually identical. You can see here. They function the exact same way. The motors are in the same places. So the main difference between the two, again, is just that one is bigger than the other. Now, the battery mount section. So online, you can buy the HeadPLUS Pro with a V-mount battery bracket and screw that on, and it shows the very big battery bracket. The regular one you can buy with a NPF battery bracket or a Canon LPE6 battery bracket. In reality, the battery bracket screw holes are actually identical. So what I did was I took my existing one that I had here, just transferred it over to the Pro unit, and it works just fine. It powers it right up just fine. It's exactly as what you would expect. So what else? All the connections on the back are identical. You can see all of the focus module, the laser module, both work with the HeadPLUS and the HeadPLUS Pro unit. and the time lapse and the camera control basically identical. So really the only last thing of note is that when the HeadPLUS Pro unit is working or turning, the sound is a little bit louder than the regular unit, both of which are actually very quiet and really, especially if you're moving slowly, you can't really hear it at all. It's more of like ultrasonic hum. When you're going at full speed, you do hear the motors of the HeadPLUS Pro unit just that much more, and it's something to be aware of. But again, most of the time you're not going to be moving from point A to point B at 100% speed. You're not going to be snapping from here to there. You're going to be moving very slowly. So most of the time you're not going to hear anything at all anyway. So do I recommend these units? I absolutely do. I actually really like these Edelkrone products, especially with all the other products. They're pretty compatible. You know, you could use the HeadPLUS unit on the slider. You could use it and buy pieces and upgrade as you go along, just kind of like how I did. I had the HeadPLUS unit, now I'm getting the Pro unit, and it go right on the slider just fine. Now there is one caveat that I want to bring up, is that the Jib 1 unit that they just announced or just released really only works well with the HeadPLUS unit. And the reason why is because of weight. The maximum carrying weight of the Jib 1 is about 10 pounds. And really the HeadPLUS is light enough to be able to be carried by the Jib 1 with the camera sitting on top. The HeadPLUS Pro, on the other hand, now mechanically it will attach to the Jib 1. Itself is like 7 or so pounds, and then especially when you think about the camera on top, you're going to be running into weight limitations or weight issues if you use the HeadPLUS Pro with the Jib 1. So that's why this is not recommended for the Jib 1, while the regular HeadPLUS unit is. So just something to think about. It really comes down to your camera that you're using, what you want to use it for, what other accessories you have from Edelkrone, and basically what you're trying to do. So anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough about the HeadPLUS and HeadPLUS Pro units. You probably got a pretty good idea of how these things look side by side and the pros and cons or differences about these two units. If you have any questions, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. I'll try to answer them when I see them. And if you found this video useful, please hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more videos like this, there's always the subscribe button. So I'll see you in the next one.